to the opening chant, call and response. The unsurpassed, profound, and wondrous Dharma.
The unsurpassed, profound, and wondrous Dharma
is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas.
Is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas.
Now I can see and hear it.
Now I can see and hear it.
Accept and maintain it.
Accept and maintain it.
May I unfold the meaning of the Tathagata's truth.
May I unfold the meaning of the Tathagata's truth.
Thank you for coming out on a very cold Sunday morning to sit in stillness, to sit in silence, to sit in the company of others, to support our practice as a whole. Thanks folks online for being here with us today. It's good to see everybody. Thank you. This talk I've entitled Bringing the Outside In. But I was thinking it could be the reverse too. Bringing the inside out. Either way, you could take it either way. And it's based on a saying that I've been contemplating the past few months. I brought this here to show you. I had this up at an art show several months ago, and I really love this saying, and it's caused me to reflect and is the inspiration for this talk. And I'm going to leave this painting here at the Zen Center. So if somebody would like to have it, you're welcome. If you'd like to make a donation to the Zen Center, then please do. That's in the spirit of the founding abbot here, Nonan. He would do that, make calligraphies, and then offer them for donation to the Zen Center. So this calligraphy reads, recite a poem while viewing the moon and flower. And this one is for, this character here means moon and then flower, and to recite, to chant, something like that. That's the spirit behind it anyways. That's the sense of it. So I'm going to just put that in front here.
Recite to the moon or flower? Is that what you said?
Yes, recite. It doesn't say the word to in there. They're just four characters, but that's the sense of it. Yeah, recited to the moon, to the flower. Yeah. So why does this phrase speak to me? Maybe it doesn't speak to you. Like, what is it? And what the heck does that have to do with what we're doing here? Right? We're practicing Zen, right? We're just sitting meditation. So what is this with the flower and the moon? Well, we all, these are things that unite us, right? The moon. Who doesn't have some relationship to the moon? It's something that we all share, right? The moon is it's just a symbol of something universal. If you're in the United States, you can see the moon. If you're in Africa, it's the same moon. If you're in Japan, it's the same moon. It's a symbol of unity. And then the flower, right? The flower is a symbol of not just beauty, but also diversity. I'll just give you a little bit of background here. As a child, my family are city folks. They're urbanites, and this idea, Zen. If you start to read Zen Buddhism, you'll see it is replete. It is full of reflections on the natural world. Everywhere you look in the Zen writing, you'll find some writing that connect us deeply to the natural world. And this is kind of foreign to me, growing up with parents that were they're wonderful, lovely people, urbanites and my father actually, I have to give him credit, he was a great gardener, and he was very good with his hands, very, very good with his hands. So he imparted upon me a love of gardening, for sure. My mother, on the other hand, she would see an insect and just, smash it. That was her. Anything that was inside that belonged outside was dead in our house. That's just how that was her kind of reaction. And even to this day, it's hard to think about recycling for her. Like, I said, Mom, shouldn't this be recycled? Oh yeah, I guess I should put that in the recycling bin. And my father just kind of gave up on trying to do that, but I have to say something. And as I grew up, as a small kid, I loved frogs. For some reason, I just love frogs and toads. I had pet frogs and toads in a little aquarium. I would call my dad up on the phone and say, "Hey, Dad, can you buy me some crickets at the store?" And he would get a kick out of, he was in his fancy job as an engineer, and his son would be calling him up asking him to buy crickets and bring them home. So he'd go through the store for me and get a bag of crickets, especially in the winter when they're all dead. But in the fall, when they were plentiful, I'd love to go out in the field in the backyard and pick up flat stones and see what kinds of creatures were lying on there. And inevitably, I'd pick up one stone and there'd be like 3 crickets. Oh, my frogs would love these. And I'd grab them and put them in the tank and watch them gobble it up. And it just was such a source of joy. And of course, as I know, this was a 9-year-old boy, 8-year-old boy. And I was a swimmer. I swam competitively in college as well as in high school, and started when I was young, about 7 years old. And my favorite stroke, you know where I'm going with this? What?
Breaststroke.
The
It looks
breaststroke.
like frogs.
Looks like a frog kick, And I never thought about it at the time, but I watched those frogs swimming all the time, and just the way they, just like, whoop, whoop. And I that's how I learned how to. I think that they were some of my first swim instructors. I did well. That was my favorite stroke. And I never. It's only more recently that I put those two things together. Like, oh, those little creatures were teaching me how to swim, right? And just you can see the way that those springy legs, and they're so strong. They're so powerful. Just thinking about it gives me some feeling of love and joy. And as I grew up, I loved the study of biology. High school biology was interesting to me, and learning about animals and things and anatomy and that kind of thing was very interesting to me. So I decided when I went to college, maybe I'll be a veterinarian. But it's funny because there's no vets for frogs. There's vets for dogs and cats, which I didn't have any experience with. There's vets for horses and cows, which I didn't grow up on a farm. And so one summer I decided to work with a vet, and I did it maybe a few times. And I went to, it was a large animal vet, and he would work with horses. I rode a horse maybe one time in my life. And this guy had so much knowledge of horses. So much so. You know what a vet does with horses? Does anybody know what the vet does?
Well, it depends
Well,
on the
depends.
horse. It depends on what they need.
What I saw, I'll tell you what I saw. He had a very long glove, rubber glove, and it went up to his shoulder. And he would stick his hand up the butt and pull out all the manure, and then test it for various things.
I'm surprised the horse would tolerate that. I wouldn't tolerate that.
Well, the horse was okay with it, and tested, put ultrasound and all of these things it was doing there. And I thought, you know what? I'm not at home anymore. So I had to, think like, now I'm studying biology and being a veterinarian doesn't quite match with my experience as a youth. But I persisted with it a little bit longer until we had to, in college, dissect frogs. And I was like, no, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. I had to dissect frogs. And I actually live frogs, not just dead frogs. They were alive.
Oh, no.
And this really turned me off to the field. In general, I started shifting towards ecology. And at the same time, parallel to this, I was studying religion. I took a religion class out of the blue because I needed an elective. I was a BA in biology. I needed an elective, and first year I started studying religion, and I liked it so much I started taking more classes with the same teacher, and I started seeing some connections between biology and religion, especially with these teachers. They were saying, you know, there's a connection between the way that we view the world and a kind of a spiritual crisis that's happening around the world right now. There's the ecological crisis. This is in the 1990s, where the big thing was acid rain. And I remember one of my bio teachers saying, you know that rain coming out there right now, that's acid rain. And I thought, doesn't burn my skin, but yeah, I guess it's the pH is low in that water. And so it touched me, you know, on a kind of a physical level or emotional level, that the biology teacher was pointing this out. I'm concerned. And then in the religion, they were saying, you know, the heart of the ecological crisis is a spiritual crisis. That the way that we see the ecology is a reflection, or I should say, the way that we act with the ecology around us is a reflection of the way that we perceive the ecology around us. This made me think about, okay, well, how do I see ecology? How do I see the world around me? How do I see the environment? And what tools are there that I can change or shift out of that way of seeing? So it became apparent that, well, I'm really not very conscious of the natural world. I don't feel a sense of closeness, maybe like I did when I was a little kid, with the frogs and so I didn't feel. And certainly when we were dissecting animals, and there wasn't the same feeling of love. There was more of a kind of control mentality and a sense of as humans, a kind of a superiority attitude. That humans are better, above the natural world. And so I realized that this I was being taught, actually, and reflecting on, could this possibly be a problem? Could this possibly be a problem? Well, yeah, it is. It's a way that we think about our environment, our ecology. And you know, all of these religions that I was studying, they all have something to say about how to treat the natural world, all of them. I just fell in love with Buddhism. I'm not saying it's better than the others. I just fell in love with Buddhism. And so that's kind of where it's kind of where I'm coming from. And when so let me just say this, the general way we think of the natural world around us is that it's a stage, right? Can you get behind that? That we see the natural world as a kind of a stage on which we're born, we live, and then we die. And the world itself is a stage that we kind of walk on. But the Buddhist view is different than that. It says that actually the environment is not a stage. So that's what I want to kind of reflect on. So what if the environment is not a stage, what is it? What is this environment? And one way to think of this is that nature emerges as a human self, as conscious self-awareness, reflecting on itself. So